Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel where I love to bring you the best tips and tools for creating beautiful home decor on a budget. Today I have 6 more easy and budget-friendly but high-end looking fall DIYs for you. I really hope you enjoy what I've prepared for you today. For today's first DIY, we're going to create a wood tray and vase trio using tumbling tower blocks, the adhesive cork sheet, and some florals from Dollar Tree, along with 3 recycled glass jars. So I'm going to make 2 layers to my tray. The first layer, I'm going to do 5 rows of 6 tumbling tower blocks. You can see here it's going to take 2 sets of 5 there under each jar. So I'm going to use a total of 30 blocks for this first layer. So here you can see I am taking 6 of my blocks and using some wood glue. I'm gluing them end to end, and I'm going to do this 5 times and then glue each of those 5 rows together to create a rectangle. For the second layer of my tray, I'm actually going to use 54 blocks. I'm making this a little thicker. There's the first one I did. And I am now doing 6 groups of 9. So here I'm taking 9 blocks and I'm gluing them together like a sandwich cookie. So I'm putting the glue on the top of the block and these are lined up on their side. So I did 54 blocks on the right there and the 30 blocks on the left. So once those were completely dried, I'm going to give them a good coat of my antique wax, brush it on, wipe off the excess, and I'm going to see which surface I like the look of more to be the top of my tray. You can see there on the left, that's the 30 blocks. You can see a little bit where the glue is. So I'm actually going to use this one on the right hand side as the top of my tray. Go ahead and do the antique wax on the edges, and then once those are dry, you can glue your 2 unpainted surfaces together using wood glue from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to go ahead and clamp these tight on all 4 sides until I know they are really dry and are not going to come apart. So while that's drying, we're going to move to our jars. These are from some pear slices. And whenever I'm going to paint glass with chalk paint, I go ahead and do a layer of the matte finish Mod Podge. It just helps the paint stay on and also gives it kind of this really cool crackle appearance. So now that my Mod Podge is dry, I'm going to do 2 layers of my chalk paint in the color Plaster. It's a little bit more of a softer white. Next, I'm taking one of these adhesive cork sheets from Dollar Tree, and with the long edge at the top of my trimmer, I'm going to cut 4 strips that are 3/4 inches wide. The trimmer goes ahead and makes the line for me, but I just do need to finish up with my scissors in order to get through the adhesive sheet. And I'm going to cut 4 of these. What I'm going to do is, after exposing the adhesive, I'm going to put 2 of these together, sticky sides together, to create the 2 handles for my tray. Now, if you stick these down, don't try to pull them up to fix it because it'll rip, but it's okay. I just laid it back down and that will be the inside of that handle. So I'm gonna have them kind of like that on either end of my now dry tray. You can see I'm gonna first use some hot glue and attach down the end of the cork, and then I'm using one of these little furniture tacks from Walmart just to add a decorative touch and make sure that it doesn't come off. So we'll do this on both ends of the cork strip and do the same thing on the other side of our wood tray. Then coming back to our jars, now that they're dry and I did spray them with a semi-gloss matte finish spray, I'm going to go ahead and take some of this burlap trim that I found at Dollar Tree just to finish off the top edge of our 3 jars, and then they will be all ready to go. Now the last step of this project, which I love because you can change out this DIY for any season. This season I'm going to use these little decorative picks from Dollar Tree. I did cut a couple sections off the bottom because they were a little tall for these jars. I got 2 with the white flowers, those will go on either side, and then the one with the orange and the pumpkin to put in the middle. I absolutely love this tray, how farmhouse it is with the cork and the wood, and that it can be changed out, like I said, for each season. For our second DIY, I'm going to make a set of galvanized metal farmhouse pedestals using 3 of these metal bottle cap signs, 3 of the glass candlesticks, and 1 of the little glass bowls that comes in this set of 4. Again, just like my jars in the previous project, I am going to do matte finish Mod Podge on my glass items before I paint them. Now, if you don't want to take this time, just use some spray paint that works on glass and you'll get this step done a lot faster. I decided to use my white chalk paint for this project, and I'm going to give each of my glass items 2 coats. Now you can see here I did take some E6000 and glued 2 of these candlesticks together to make a taller one. Now the 2 holes that had the jute twine hanger for the bottle cap sign, I am going to feed some of this black and white gingham ribbon from Hobby Lobby through there, and then I'm going to tie a bow on the outside of each of the 3 bottle caps. I'm turning these into a little tray. I did use a little hot glue just to hold the bow in place where I wanted it, and then you can go ahead and trim the little ends of each of your bows. Now once all 3 of those are done, we can go ahead and use E6000 again to glue our glass bases to our metal trays. So for my lowest one, I'm just using that small little glass bowl, and then for my middle one of the glass candlesticks, and then for my tallest one, those 2 candlesticks that I had already glued together and were already dry. Go ahead and just leave these upside down for a good 24 hours just to make sure everything is attached securely. Again, this is another one of those projects that, because it's a very neutral farmhouse, you can change this out for each and every season and holiday. You can see I just have some fall flowers here. You could use candles, you could put pumpkins for fall, and then change it out for Christmas, Valentine's, spring, you name it. If you're new to my channel, I hope you'll consider sticking around by hitting that subscribe button, and also hit the bell to choose the notifications so YouTube will let you know each time I upload a new video. For my third DIY, I decided to try my hand at the Jenga block pumpkins. I am using an actual set of Jenga blocks that I found at a thrift store, some wine corks, some leaves, and some paint. So for my small pumpkins, I'm going to glue 2 sets of 2 Jenga blocks together, 2 sets of 3, and 1 set of 4. You can see I'm gluing them together there right over the word Jenga until they are dry. So I'm actually going to make 2 small pumpkins like this, and then I'll show you I'm going to make a taller pumpkin as well. So I love this lagoon, this teal. You've seen me use it already this fall. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint 1 set of my blocks that I glued together with this teal color. And then I'm going to also glue another set or paint another set with my pumpkin colored chalk paint from Waverly. And then here you can see I have what would be 2 more small pumpkins, but I glued them together to make a tall pumpkin. So this is my tall set of 2 and another tall set of 2, 2 sets of 3, and a set of 4. I hope that makes sense. Basically, if you put my orange pumpkin and my teal pumpkin on top of each other, you've got what will be my white pumpkin. So here, now that these are dry and the paint is dry, I'm gluing a set of 2 on top of a set of 3, and I'm going to do that twice, and then glue one of those sets to my 4 blocks that are together. I'm going to let these dry just like this, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, and then we will put them together once those are dry. Here you can also see I'm doing the same thing with my tall blocks. I've got a set 2 wide and 3 wide, 2 wide and 3 wide, and then I'm going to glue one of those on top of the blocks that are 4 blocks wide. We'll do this with the orange, the white, and the teal. Now that those are dry, I flipped over that other set, and now I'm gluing the other sets of 3 and 2. I think the way you can see it is much more of a clear explanation than what I'm trying to say, but here you can see I've got 2 on the outside, 3 inside that, and then the very center of my pumpkin is 4 Jenga blocks. So here you can see my small orange, my small teal, and my tall white pumpkins. Let those dry so that wood glue is nice and secure. Then I'm going to just add a rustic touch by dry brushing some of my antique wax on all the sides of my pumpkins. I will wipe away some of the excess with a paper towel. And then I'm also going to use my sanding sponge from Dollar Tree just to blend everything in and make it look really nice and how I want it to look. So the thing with this is you can add more, you can take away more with the sponge, and just until you have it how you like it. Once our pumpkins are completely dry, I'm just going to hot glue a wine cork to the center of the top to be our little pumpkin stem. I didn't bother painting these. I kind of liked them looking natural. And then I'm just adding a couple green leaves from some Dollar Tree florals to each of the tops of my pumpkins. For DIY number 4, I'm going to make a centerpiece using 2 of these pumpkin wreath forms and a length of wood. This is a 2-foot section of a 1-inch by 4-inch piece that I got at, I believe, Lowe's, and I'm just going to go ahead and stain this with my antique wax. I'm really loving how I can see the detailing on the wood here. So do both sides and the ends. I always like to be thorough. Then I took my 2 wire forms and I did spray paint those with an off-white spray paint. I'm gonna say I bought these 2 pumpkin wreath forms 2 different years, and I feel like they didn't quite match up, or that could just be that they're Dollar Tree. But I'm going to use 4 zip ties, and I'm going to secure them together, the top 2 corners of the stem, and then also at the base of the stem on either side. Once I had my wire form adjusted how I wanted it, I'm going to staple each side to the side of my wood here, just using a few staples from my staple gun. And we'll do this on both sides so that it sits with the wood in the center of the two frames. Next, I'm going to take some hot glue and some jute twine from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to completely wrap the stems of our pumpkin with the jute twine. This is going to give it more of a farmhouse look, but also give us a surface later on that we can attach our bow to. So you can see I was trying to go horizontally, and then I decided I also needed to go vertically. So this part probably took the longest. Now, taking my collection of fall colored ribbons from Dollar Tree, I'm going to make another one of my super easy crisscross bows, just cutting 2 lengths of ribbon from each of my designs. Just make them the same length. And I am going to use all of these except for that really glittery orange one I decided not to use. Then just lay these across, right, left, right, left, right, left, until you get all of your ribbons down. Just get them lined up as straight as you can. And then we're going to take a piece of jute twine and just tie a knot in the center, holding our crisscross bow together. Once you get a few knots tied, go ahead and trim your ends, and then you can just fluff out the pieces of your bow. You can see here then I'm also folding it in half and making the little dovetail on each of the ends of my bow. Again, just keep fluffing it out so that you can see all the different ribbons, and then put some hot glue on your jute stem there and hold it in place until it's secure. I did decide to take that plain burlap that was on the very front of my bow and tuck it in a little bit, just so you could see some of the other ribbons. But these crisscross bows are so easy, I don't think I'll ever try to do a regular bow again. Once you have that decorated, you can very easily change out what is inside your centerpiece. Here I just have some lamb's ear garland from Hobby Lobby and 3 of the Dollar Tree pumpkins. Because the wires are so far apart, you can easily move things in and out, and I love how this turned out. For DIY number 5, we're going to use one of these dimensional pumpkins from Dollar Tree and make a cute fall sign with it. Using also some scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, some wood or metal words, and of course some paint. So here's my teal again, Martha Stewart Lagoon, and I'm going to paint the front side of my pumpkin with this, mainly the flat surfaces. It's okay if it gets on the raised areas, because we're going to end up covering that with scrapbook paper anyway. So I'm loving this teal, and especially on that scrapbook paper that has the blue trucks, it looks so, so cute. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just using my fingernails to go around those raised edges, doing an impression all the way around, so then I can see where I need to cut. Go ahead and cut out those 3 pieces, and you can just get them laid out on top of your pumpkin, and then we're going to Mod Podge those in place. So like I said, just go ahead and take your Mod Podge and put a layer on the raised wood, and then go ahead and press your scrapbook paper down, getting out any air bubbles, and they should match up pretty well to what you cut out. So all 3 sections, and then once those are all 3 down, I did take the Mod Podge and go over the top of them again, and also went over the parts of the pumpkin that I painted with the teal paint, just to give everything a nice uniform finished look. Now this is super cute, but I decided I wanted it to be a bigger statement. So I took out one of these tag signs that I had from the summer. I scraped off all the glitter and decided I wanted to make a background for my pumpkin. So taking some of this white shiplap scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to Mod Podge it on, but first I decided I needed to just do one little layer of paint so that the pink and the flamingo were not showing through the white scrapbook paper. So once that paint was dry, go ahead and just do your layer of Mod Podge, and then I just lined up that bottom right corner with my tag. Press it down, let that dry, and you can see I need another little piece at the top there. So I did take a second piece of scrapbook paper and lined up the lines on the paper as best I could, and then let that dry as well. Once that scrapbook paper is dried completely, I'm just taking my Fiskars fingertip craft knife, and on the back there, just trimming away the excess of the scrapbook paper so that it's now completely covering the front side of our tag. I decided to use the metal word that says harvest from Dollar Tree, but I didn't like that you could see the line where the two pieces of paper met. So I took a piece of our burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree and I'm just going to wrap it around and hot glue it on the back. This will disguise that line between the two pieces of paper and also give our harvest word more of a background that it will let it stand out. You can take your sanding sponge if you like and just sand those edges. Make sure no paper is hanging over. Then you can take your pumpkin and go ahead and glue this onto the front side of your tag. Glue on your metal word that says harvest or whatever you decide to use. And then I'm going to take that raffia bow and put it back on where the glue is still left on the front of my pumpkin. I didn't like that you could see the hole from the string, so I'm taking some black and white gingham ribbon. You've seen me use this before from Hobby Lobby, and I made a little bow that I'm going to glue, kind of stack it on top of the raffia bow, but you can still see the hole. So now taking some jute twine, wrapping it about 8 times around my fingers, and then taking another little piece. I'm going to tie a knot in the center of those loops, and it'll basically be another little bow. Trim those little free ends, and then we're going to glue this one right where the hole is from the pumpkin. And there we took that one-dimensional wood pumpkin sign and made it into something a little more substantial. You can add a jute twine hanger to this if you do want to hang it as well. And my last DIY for today is a Hello Fall shaker box. I'm using one of these banks from Dollar Tree, some scrapbook paper, wood words, and some acorn and pine cones from Hobby Lobby that I got at 40% off. So you can see that I was going to make this into a Christmas shaker box. I never did, so I'm gonna just trace the back of the bank onto my scrapbook paper, cut that out, and I'm just gonna glue it right over that Christmas paper just to give it a fall background. This again was another scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. So go ahead and put whatever background you want for your shaker sign. Then I have this bag of acorns and pine cones from Hobby Lobby. All the fall stuff is 40% off right now. And I liked that this had 3 different colors of acorns. They had some with pumpkins, but it was either all orange or all white. So I liked the color this added. Now, I also got this at Hobby Lobby this year, $2.99 regular price, but it was, again, 40% off. You get 2 sets of Happy Fall in light brown and 2 in orange. So use whichever color you want or paint it another color if you'd like. I'm just going to glue this to the front of the glass and let that dry. Now, you could be done here, but I didn't like how plain the black plastic of the bank looked. So I took everything out, and then using a small little piece of painter's tape so I could avoid getting paint on the glass, I'm going to dry brush some white all over the black plastic surfaces of the bank. Now, you don't have to use the tape. If you get paint on the glass, it scratches off really easily, but I was just trying to be neat. So all along the front, and then go ahead and on each of the 4 sides, just dry brush some white paint. You can seal it if you want. I did not. I just left it like this, put it back together. And how cute is that for a tiered tray or to sit on a mantle or a shelf? Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you'll give this video a big thumbs up. It really does help me to grow my channel and let YouTube know that people are enjoying my videos, so they will show them to other people. And also let me know in the comments which of these projects was your favorite. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.